Started. All right, so we are now recording, and welcome everyone to the Small Business Consulting Services Group. It's a beautiful morning, and I'm excited for Jodi being our presenter today. The good thing is we'll be obviously be able to post this out on our Facebook group and other avenues that we have in social media. Jodi is excited about this. So her and I've been working on this all week to a certain degree. So I'm excited to have her share with that. So Stephen, just so you kind of get a feel of the group again, obviously our group is for educational purposes. Our group is to help small business owners have resources and education about how to make their business better. And since I've taken over the group again, Joe was actually part of our group when I was doing it. I was glad that he took it over for a while. So you'll see basically the same thing to a certain degree, but we're definitely looking to expand our group and to make sure that we grow our group here in the next month or so, for sure. So we're looking for avenues or ways to be able to do that. If you have any recommendations after the meeting, I'll be more than happy to do that. Do you know how to use the chat box, Stephen? Yes? Okay. Do me a favor when you get a chance, just put your company name and address and all that stuff in there.
You may regret asking me that after a while.
What's that? Oh, in the chat box?
I'm just kidding. I'm in some other networking groups where we all get kind of chatty in the background, commenting on other people's whatever. But,
yeah, well, we're not doing that today. So, and there's
I have to go now, but it's been very.
Gotcha. Well, do me a favor when you get a chance, just put that in there. So we'll go through each person here. We'll do introductions of about a minute of everybody, and then we'll get Jodi started with her presentation. Okay. So my name is Michael Dwyer. I am a financial services advisor and coach with a company called Primerica. We're North America's largest marketing organization. I deal with life insurance, investments, auto and homeowners insurance, legal shield, and 401k plans and SEP plans for small business owners. I've been with the company for over 27 years. I'm really looking forward to being able to affect some of the small business owners that are here. And anything I can do, if you know anybody's looking to either change careers or looking to make some extra money, I'd love to be able to connect with them. Michael Dwyer with Primerica. Sean, I'll let you be up next.
Excellent. I'm Coach Sean McCarthy with Bold City Coaching Company. I work predominantly with small business owners. As most of us in this room know, when we first started a small business, what we actually did was create a job for ourselves. And part of my role is to help people go from that job that they created to now finding other people to manage. And so they go from creating that job to becoming a manager until they eventually become a business owner where they can step away from the business and the business can still make them money. So my specialty is focusing in on the business aspects of any business, any job. So if you know somebody that's going through either the hiring struggles or the letting go as being a business owner and trying to figure out what to delegate and how to create which systems, those are all great leads for me. Because those folks, again, many of us know it's a lonely business sometimes when you start out creating a job for yourself and a small business owner. And not that I want to solve their loneliness, but give them more direction so that they can continue to grow both individually, but most importantly, as a business owner. Coach Sean, Bold City Coaching.
Great. Thank you, Sean. Jodi, you're next. Just do a quick intro there.
All right, I'll make it quick. Hi, everyone. My name is Jodi Watkins. I'm the founder of a company called 2BEpic Fitness and Nutrition, LLC. I am in health and wellness, and I love to help people change their lives. So again, Jodi Watkins with 2BEpic Fitness and Nutrition, LLC.
Awesome. All right, Joe. You got it?
Yeah. Joseph Vickers Accounting and Bookkeeping Services. We help, been a CPA for over 30 years, help companies with their bookkeeping as well as their taxes. Joseph Vickers, Vickers Accounting and Bookkeeping Services.
Awesome. All right, Stephen.
Good morning. I'm Stephen Monks. My company is Quality Roofing. I'm located in Orange Park, been in business since 1986. I'm a state certified, licensed and insured roofer and home inspector. I did home inspections from 1995 until the crash of '08, and I just loved it. That would not be something that I would have wanted to turn over to someone else. Now you can have my little roofing business. You can have it now in teasing. But the home inspection aspect has really helped me because I know how houses work from foundation to roof, help me connect things when I'm looking for roof problems. Often it's not a roof problem causing moisture on their ceiling, it's something else. So it's really been able to help me do a better job for my customers. But I specialize in roof repairs and helping folks solve their roofing problems, trying to mentor and train people to do roofing when they're interested in learning, and learning to, not learning to, but well, I guess learning to make my work fun, make work interesting. I tremendously enjoy my customers, chatting with them, talking with them about their life, their kids, their grandkids, their lives. It's just fun stuff. That's my favorite part of the business, is meeting people. And now I get to meet you, Stephen Monks, Quality Roofing, the urgent care center for your roof. Thank you.
Nice. Very good, Stephen. Thank you. And I'll put my stuff in here in the chat and everything too. So, Jody, yeah, you got yours in here. Okay, cool. And what I'll do is I'll send out the chat as a PDF file to everybody, so they've got everybody's information in there. Yeah. So just so you know. So I'm excited. Jody actually visited our group, I guess about 2-3 weeks, or I don't know, a month ago or whatever. I keep forgetting how fast time flies with these bi-weekly meetings that we do. But we've definitely connected. I love that she has such a passion for what she does and being able to help people in the different areas. I know Jody's got to kick my butt at some time. So I'm excited for her to be able to share with us some time management skills and learning about how to get better at that. Gosh knows with everything that's been going on, that's probably one of the things that's the hardest to manage, because we've got so much free time, quote unquote, to be able to do things. So yes, so I'm excited to share have Jody share with us her presentation about time management, and I'm looking forward to seeing how our results once we take action on what she's going to share with us. So Jody, I'm excited for you. Take it away.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm back. All right. I just want to give a little bit of a backstory. And one thing I caught on what he said with free time. None of our time is really free if you think about it, right? So how do we kind of take control of our time and then have time that we can spend in the areas where we want to spend it? So I guess you can call that free time, but it's really not free, right? So a little bit of a backstory. A few years ago, my daughter was diagnosed with ADHD. Through that, I was actually starting a business and finishing my MBA. I was all over the place. I could barely keep it together. I was missing appointments, all kinds of things. I started going to her counseling sessions with her, and they were giving me ideas to implement with her. Well, as I started implementing those ideas with her, I began to use them. And lo and behold, I realized that, back in the day, they didn't diagnose things like ADHD. We were just kids that had crazy thoughts, right? We were just kids. And I went to a seminar and they were talking about adults with undiagnosed ADHD. And you guys, literally everything that they had written down, I was just like a deer in the headlights. So I became very intentional after that. And I said, I'm going to start using this stuff because it's obviously something I need. So that's kind of where it started. Now, of course, this was about, like I said, 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. So I've had to get better over time, right? I didn't start out, nobody starts out knowing everything, right? It's just practice, practice, practice. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this a little bit, but I want you to remember, this is not about being perfect. This is about progress, right? Being better than we were yesterday. That's all that matters. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into time management. All right. And this is the one awesome thing about Zoom calls, right? Like your screen does whatever it wants. All right, so time is our most valuable asset, right? So how do you use it? Time management and productivity is super, super important for us business owners, right? Because any time of day, we'll get an email, we're trying to check our social media, we're trying to have phone calls and meetings and networking events, right? So how do we figure out how to do all that and still maintain maybe our personal lives, our other things that we have going on in our lives? How do we do all that? So that's what I'm going to help you with today. I am the author of a book called Reclaim Your Life, and chapter 2 of my book is time management. So, all right, again, my company is 2BEpic Fitness and Nutrition, LLC. What started as an online coaching, fitness and nutrition business has evolved tremendously. I've partnered with another company called Convene Communities, where I now have a free wellness community, and I'm inviting people over there right now to be able to be a part of that. My website is www.2beepicfn.com. All right, so here's a quote that I found on hubstaff.com. 30% is the time wasting low value and no value activities accounted for. 30%. Now, if we add that up over time, that adds up pretty much a lot, right? That's a lot. So how do we get control of that 30%? The solution that I've found in my own life is doing a time audit and, of course, planning ahead. When I talk to people about nutrition, fitness, anything that they are trying to implement into their life that is new, this is what we have to really talk about. You're not going to be able to get it if you just try to throw yourself into it. You're not going to be able to be consistent. You might be able to get it right? Because everybody starts out the new year real great, a month, maybe even 2 months. Maybe you make it until March, but then what happens? People start trickling off. It doesn't matter what it is, it starts trickling off. So the time audit helps us get control of that. So this is one of the questions that I've been asked, and it's something I had to ask. Should we do an audit daily or weekly? So just as we do any other goal, or hopefully we do with any other goal, we have to reassess our time both daily and weekly, okay? This is called planning ahead, right? So for me, every Sunday, I have allotted maybe an hour out of the day where I sit down. I already have some things scheduled in my phone, and I have a paper planner that I use as well. And I go through and I say, okay, this time I have this time I have this, and this is each day that I do this. In the morning, on each of those days, first thing in the morning before all the chaos starts, I get up a little early, I make sure I have time, and I go through that specific day. I begin to set my intentions for the day. I begin filling in the blanks for the extra time, the free time, as Michael said, right? I start filling in the blanks for that time. And now I have my day planned out. Now, what I will tell you is it's not 100%. Again, do not strive for perfection. Life is going to happen. We must allow life to happen. So be ready for that. And again, that's just planning ahead. Be ready for the unexpected just as much as you are for the expected. All right. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. It's basically just showing you the journey, right? So of course I made this for 2021. This is how you can kind of start out. I will practice using a planner and limiting distractions 3 out of 7 days. Not every day, 3 out of 7, right? We got to start somewhere. Don't try to dive all in, because if you dive all in, you're going to be out within the next couple weeks, okay? 3 out of 7 days. All right, a couple months later, it's the 3rd month of the year. I will reassess. Now we need to look back. How have we done over these last couple months? Is there anything we can do better? Is there anything that we are really proud of ourselves for doing? Because that's something people forget to do. Pat yourself on the back every now and then, okay? Reassess, stay consistent. I love that word. It's all about consistency, not perfection. All right, so we go a couple months later, June. I'm feeling really good about my scheduling, my time, and using it effectively. Now we feel good. Guess what, you guys? We're halfway in the year. We feel good. All right, let's keep going. The next month, I felt really good, but then I digressed. And this is life, right? You guys know just as much as I do. This is what happens in all of our lives, right? However, I am aware of what I need to do better, and I will recommit myself to myself and to my goals. Okay, give ourselves some grace and then continue. October comes around. I feel great about the last 3 quarters. I will share with others my journey. So this is sharing your experiences, because now we want to help everybody else. Let's serve other people, like Stephen was saying earlier, and commit to carrying it through to the following year. That's huge, you guys. And like I said, we definitely have to make sure that we give ourselves some grace. We're not perfect individuals. And if we strive for perfection, we are going to let ourselves down 100% of the time. That's something I had to learn. Keep a daily journal. Write down how you will carry out your goals. What time of the day will you need to wake up? What do you want or need to do with that time? Write down how you did at the end of the day. Reflect each day, right? How did I do? What are some great conversations I had today? Like, you guys, I'm going to be putting this into mine tonight. Like, I love doing stuff like this. So this will be one of the things I can reflect on. But maybe I can do better also. It's always important just to reflect. Have an action plan. That is so important. Have you ever seen the meme where it says a plan without, or a goal without a plan is a wish, right? It's so true. We can say all day long what we want to do. I want to change the world. But if I don't have an action plan to do that, or some kind of formula that I can begin to kind of chip away at, then it's never going to happen, right? So it's super important to be able to kind of give yourself some grace, allow yourself to go through the journey, and then just continue. All right, so here's some steps for implementation. It's one thing to know it, it's another thing to do it, right? I tell people all the time, I have a book, all these things, it has tools in it, but if you don't utilize the tools, you're probably not going to be able to get to the where you want to be, right? So I can sit here and tell you all these things, but unless you begin to implement it, it's going to be really difficult for you to get there, right? So here's some ways for you to implement. One of the things that I have to do is use an alarm for a reminder. I could sit here or stand, because I'm standing right now. I could stand here for like an hour and begin and just work, because then, you know, there's something, always something you need to be doing. So what I had to start doing was setting timers. For me, I don't do more than 20 or 30 minutes, because at that mark, my mind already has started wandering. And I know that that's that self-awareness thing, right? You have to be able to be aware of yourself. So I know that after 20 or 30 minutes, I'm going to start kind of thinking about other things. My mind's going to start wandering. And then lo and behold, I'm getting distracted. So what I have to do is, if I have a certain task that I need to work on, I set a timer and I work on that task for 20 or 30 minutes. And then I take like a 10-minute break. I go have a snack, drink some water, maybe walk outside, kind of get my head out of the game for a little bit. And then I come back in and I begin on my next task. Now, that might look a little different for you. Like I tell everyone, anything with health, you have to figure out what works for you, right? These are just tools. But this is one of the things that has definitely helped me in my own life. Plan out your categories, okay? This could be personal development, right? Like, I'm going to be starting another master's degree in January. I have certifications that I have to keep up, things like that. So that would be in that category. How much time do I spend on personal development? Exercise. It is good to continue exercising, right? We need to be able to move throughout the day. And this looks different for everyone. Everyone is at different levels of exercise. So even sometimes people just need to go outside or even just stretch. That's exercise, right? It's getting you out of what you're doing inside of your office and allowing you to kind of release those endorphins a little bit and feel good about yourself. All right, emails, social media, eating. You guys, I have to put eating in my planner, I'm sorry. Because I have skipped through that before and that's no good. That's no good. Anybody that knows me knows when Jodi doesn't get to eat, she gets hangry, and that's not a good place for Jodi to be. So I put eating in my planner, client calls, and then of course, distractions. We have kids in the house. I have a family. I have a friend who's staying with us. There's gonna be distractions, right? So now I get to look at how much time do I spend on those distractions. All right. Set an alarm for 30 or 60 minutes, and when it goes off, track what you are doing. That's how you implement. So this is for the time audit, okay? For the time audit, you want to set an alarm, and after 30 or 60 minutes, you want to see what you're doing. What are you doing at that time? Don't be bashful about it. This is really just for you. You don't even have to share it with anybody, right? So don't be embarrassed, or else you're just going to be embarrassed with yourself. Who cares, right? Write down what you're doing at that time. It's kind of like forming a budget without knowing how much money you have, right? You can't do that. So it's better to just see what you're spending. And Michael, he'd be better off explaining this, but this is what I've learned from other people. It's better to write down what you're spending and then place your budget off of that, right? Rather than trying to guess. Okay. I don't make this stuff up, you guys. All right, so write it down quickly. Don't overthink it. And then follow up on your day. Repeat this audit for 5 days to get a better view of where your time is spent. And this is the first steps for becoming more self-aware, okay? Without self-awareness, we get nowhere. With that being said, I want to open the floor for any questions, any feedback, any thoughts. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to say at this time? I'm gonna have to start singing like Michael. There we go.
When you say set an alarm for 30 minutes, I'm confused on that. What do you
So
mean?
the first thing I was talking about is my task management. When
Okay.
I was saying about the 20 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
When we're implementing the time audit, so everybody here is going to get a copy of the time audit, okay? When you start to do the time audit, then you're going to have another alarm set for like 30. It depends on you. You know, I don't know what you do within the day. You might have hour-long phone calls, things like that. So you're not going to want to have a 30-minute timer going off, right? So for you, it might work better to have an hour timer. And then just write down what you're doing in that hour or what you've accomplished within that hour.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
Does everybody understand that? I apologize if I confuse anyone.
No, it's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
I had a couple of thoughts. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Your statement, it is about consistency, not perfection. I gotta tell you, that's one of the most powerful things I've heard in a long time. That seems to apply to every area of our lives.
It does.
Without elaborating too much, I mean, how many times have we either ourselves or seen others that just go crazy trying to get something so perfect that we all go nuts or something, and realizing we work hard, we do our very best, and then we attempt to be consistent day in and day out rather than trying to get everything else. Because like you're saying, you can line out your day perfectly, and then a couple of phone calls come in, or somebody you love locks themselves out of their car or something. You got to bring the other key, and life has interruptions to it. Now, the other question I had is about at the end of the day. Seems like near the end of the day, you kind of review your day,
I do.
review if
have,
you were able to
I'm gonna go
accomplish
over- I don't
your
know if you guys
objectives.
can see this very much.
Yeah.
There's a section on here where it basically, this is my evening journal, where I look back and I say, okay, what did I appreciate today? A situation or task that I handled well today, something I realized or learned today, because we should all be learning. And then I say, I could have made today even better if, like, what could I have done better maybe?
Okay.
So that reflection, because like you said, life happens, right? So I might have this whole list of, and I don't really make long lists. I always tell people don't put more than 3 pertinent tasks, because if you put too many, you're going to let yourself down probably at least 90% of the time, right? So be careful about how many must do tasks you put down. Now there might be some things in between, right? Like if I'm filling in my free time, then I might be able to say, oh, okay, I can work on this from this time to this time, and those kind of might happen. But what I'll do is maybe I wasn't able to get some of those things done. So in the evening, I look back, well, what did I get done today? Right? Like what happened in my life? Like you just said, like, okay, your spouse locks keys in the car, right? Okay, let me write that down, because now I feel better about myself. It's all here. It's all our mental stability, right? And it's allowing ourselves, like I tell people, if you go to the gym and you say, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour and a half, and you wake up late and you only have 30 minutes left and you just don't go. No, 15, 20, 30 minutes, that's better than nothing, right? And then you can write that down. Well, I woke up late today. Well, how can I do better tomorrow? Well, not wake up late, right? But you're giving yourself some grace. And it's not about, like you said, it's not about being perfect. That's why I always tell people that I am not perfect in no way, shape, or form. Now, I will tell you, I used to try to be perfect. I was in a male-dominated career field for many, many years. And I was already looked down on because I was a female and I didn't have a whole lot of mechanical background. So I strived and I worked really, really hard to learn and be perfect. And you know where that got me? Really depressed. Really depressed. I could never reach that goal. But at the same time, I was doing really well. But I wasn't seeing any of that because I was so focused on what I wasn't doing right. And when we have to kind of shift ourselves out of that, because if we only focus on what we're not doing, we're not going to be able to go very far forward. We're always going to be looking in the rear view. And that's not a good place to be looking. Only for a few seconds. You can look, right? It's just like driving a car. You can look in the rear view to see who's behind you. Make sure there's nobody coming. But then you got to keep going forward. If you never look forward, you're never going to get anywhere. So just keep going forward. So I appreciate your feedback, Stephen. That means a lot.
Now, Jodi, do you have that worksheet in a PDF file or anything like that by any chance?
The time audit worksheet?
Whatever you just showed up on the screen.
The presentation itself?
No, your calendar thing.
I don't. This is actually one that I bought, but I am going to be talking to someone about branding them eventually when the finances are there. But this is one that I bought, and it just allows me to kind of write in my own things. When I do send, like when I have clients, I send them, or if they're here in Jacksonville, I'll have them, we'll go through and look at a planner. I'll just have a blank planner and I'll kind of write in some ideas of how they can use it. Again, everybody has to kind of formulate their own kind of way. I just give examples, right? What works for me.
Stephen, just so you know, if you're interested, I have a planner that's, we call it Thinking in Ink. And it has basically what Jodi's talked about. I do have it in a PDF file if you're interested, but obviously it's geared towards our company. But the concepts and everything in there, except for the bottom part of the page, is all generic, but it's all the same concepts if you're interested. Is that, yeah? I can't hear you.
He's muted.
Yeah, you're muted, Stephen.
Yep.
So just shake your head, yes, if you're interested.
Really did.
Just give me a thumbs up.
That's so funny.
What happened was
There we
is ever since you started putting your PowerPoint thing on the screen, it's changed for me for some weird reason.
Oh, okay.
Now I got it.
Well, I'm
So-
about done. So I'll go
No, it's
ahead.
fine, but now I got it back. So I couldn't find me to unmute. But yeah, please email me that. That would
Okay.
be great. Thank you, Michael. That's
Sure.
awesome. Thank you.
That's
That's very
awesome.
kind of you.
Okay, so any other questions or comments?
The only other thing I was going to say, and it kind of, you answered my question, Jodi, which was, how much should people expect to accomplish in a day? That's consistent with what I tell my clients. And I remind them all the time, I think people in general have a tendency to underestimate how long an activity will take and overestimate how much they'll get done in a given time. So that idea of 3 tasks a day, and then, you know, many times it's reminding them, no, that one task actually is 7 tasks. You got to break it down into those hour chunks or 30-minute chunks or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. Because I'll write in, you know, because I always have other things that need to be done. Right. So I'll write in other things down at the bottom, but I don't make those priorities for the day. Right. So even better, if I get through those priorities and then I kind of get to check off a little bit of these extra things. Oh my goodness. How amazing is that? But what I had to learn was, you know, and you, Coach Sean, you talk about delegating and stuff like that, but when you don't have anybody to delegate to, I came from working with a team of people and we were all able to delegate. But then I became an instructor for a little while. And that's when I had to learn about, I don't have anybody to delegate to anymore. And now with what I do, it's even more important. I don't have that delegation. I do have people I can reach out to, which is nice, but I don't have that delegation. So I'm not going to purposely overwhelm myself at this point.
Yeah, I actually take what you're talking about a step further at times and say, you know, for a small business owner to go, all right, now you actually have to assign this as when you're playing that marketing role or you're playing the CEO and you're, you know, and time blocking those days, those times and doing everything that you're talking about. But for each hat that you wear, because again, many small business owners are wearing multiple hats in their business until they can build that team up. So great points.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, one final note. Remember, the only way to get better is to begin where you are. I tell people this when it comes to anything health and wellness as well. It's the same concept. Like Stephen was saying earlier, this works for everything in our lives, right? The time audit and schedule will help you, not hinder you. It's all about being uncomfortable. We like our comfort zones. We like to be comfortable, right? That's where we want to stay. But when we begin to kind of go outside of that box and learn how to be uncomfortable, that's when true growth really, really happens, right? So I put in there, grow exponentially into 2021. The time to start is now. And the earlier we start, the better off we are. So here's my contact information. It's in the chat box. If you want more tips on how to reclaim your life and your business, please contact me. And thank you so much for having me. I will stop share now. There we go.
Very good.
Everybody
Thank
got
you.
their pictures back.
I really like that. Thank you.
Steven?
Can I say something bouncing off what you and Coach Sean are saying? Is that I was talking to my son-in-law a couple of months ago about how I consider my roofers overly optimistic when they underestimate how long a job will take. Well, apparently he said that's the Hofstadter's principle. And I'd not heard of this before. This guy named Hofstadter in the 70s came up with this thing that we typically underestimate how long it's going to take to study for a test, to do a job, to do a task. And my son-in-law manages a lot of different people in different industries. He's smarter than me, but he said that's what that is, because I just called them optimists. I said, no, this thing's going to take, I know it's going to take these guys all day to do this repair. Oh no, boss, we'll be done by noontime. You know, I'm thinking, man, if I charge these people, give them a price of doing this job in 4 hours, I will lose my shirt, you know. So but the hard part is when they tell the customer this, oh, it's nothing, we can knock this out a little time. Well, then why are you charging me so much money, sir? Like, hey, you guys, shut up.
Yeah.
And just do your job.
And it's funny you say that, because I actually was mentoring guys on the flight line for the same thing, because they would tell the pilots, oh, it's only going to take like 2 hours. And then 12 hours later, we're still shooting wires and trying to figure out what this problem is. And so we had to be very, very careful. So in the military, very early on, I learned how to, we call it an E-Tech. So it was our estimated time of compliance, right? I learned how to bump that thing out like 4 to 8 hours. Because guess what? That way, if we got it done in 2, we're rock stars. So I don't know anything about roofing, and I can't even compare anything to that, but that's just what we had to do. And I do carry that forward in my own life and with what I do. Even when people request customized workout and nutrition coaching and things like that, and I say, well, it's going to take us about 48 to 72 hours to actually build the customized programming, because it's custom to each person. I don't just have it here waiting on you. Like I got to be able to build it out. But then if I get it done in a day, guess what? Woohoo! You got your workout program.
That's
We're good
right.
to go.
And then what we found is we tend to be very efficient. We plan the job ahead of time, make every effort to make sure we have all the materials before we leave for the job, so it's not extra trips and stuff. And so sometimes we finish pretty quick. And then the customer says, well, geez, you know, why so much money for, and of course they're paying more than just for someone to swing a hammer. They're paying for the knowledge and expertise, and not to mention the overhead.
Right.
However, I just say, please understand, I do not apologize for us being efficient.
Well, and
And
the other one,
they don't mind me saying that.
Stephen, I think it's important too to point out of, yeah, but you also had to pay for, as a customer, you had to pay for all the planning, and they don't see all the hours of planning, all the hours of picking up materials, all that stuff. And so, you know, I think we get into this society of, you know, I need the pill to fix everything. And it's like, no. And I laugh too, as my son at 15 trying to teach him time management. I'm like, just because Google says it only takes an hour to get there does not mean we can only allow an hour to get there. Like, let's allow an hour and a half. And if we arrive early, hey, great, we got a little time to kill. We're not rushed, but.
It's so true.
And how many of us had to learn that the hard way, though? You know, like I had to learn all of that the hard way. And, you know, and I joke around now and I'm like, you know, we used to have the paper maps, right? We didn't, and then we graduated to maybe MapQuest, and then we would print out the map and we'd still have it. So yeah, you had to leave earlier if you need to be, you know, in a place on time. And I think sometimes we can get into that trap of relying though on Google Maps. And then there's a car accident and we're like, yeah.
I think the same thing applies to money with budgeting, and, you know, with what Michael deals with and what Joseph deals with. I think that's the problem, is people's minds are the same thing. We underestimate and overestimate on both sides. And it's like, you got to get better at this and learn, you know, how that is. The other comment I thought of when you were talking, Stephen, was I help a lot of people realize they already possess the skills in one area. So for you know how to estimate a roof job, to then look at that and apply that in other areas. And I'm blown away by how some people have no idea. The one I predominantly use that with is, I'm like, if you have children and you've taught them chores, you know how to manage employees. They just don't stop to go back, oh, wait, yeah, how do I, you know, because we all go, oh, but these are grown adults. They know this. No.
Especially since employees act like kids nowadays anyways. I mean,
And that's when my husband retired, he said it was the best time for him to retire, because some of the kids, quote unquote, that were coming in, their mindset was just not quite where it needed to be. And that, you know, but
you are preaching to the choir, sister.
Our whole lives, as far as like leading people and not even realizing it, right? Like I didn't even realize I was doing it the whole time I was in the military, pretty much. And we don't know our own potential. Most of us, I didn't. I honestly, maybe even up to the last year, didn't know my own potential. And it was also, though, keeping good people around me, though.
Yes.
Helped me see
you become like those you hang around.
I didn't have that. I had a lot of people who were pulling me back. Well, why are you trying to do that? Why, you already got this. Why are you trying to do that? And no, like, leave me alone.
Yeah. Like Dave Ramsey says, hang around rich people, not poor people. But I will say this.
Let me clarify though, because Michael did actually allow me to hone in on some areas where I was distracting people on what I did. And so that's good though. So when you have constructive criticism, that's a little bit different. But when you have people who are they just don't want you to succeed, and you can tell the difference most of the time, that's the people you got to get rid of.
Yeah.
You won't go any
I have come to the place I don't believe the thing called constructive criticism exists, but I do think we can encourage one another and lift one another up. But I do think the sum of everything that's been said today really involves our attitude. Y'all just have marvelous attitudes. I love listening to you, being with you. And because attitude is just, you know, there's so much going on in our country right now that I can get upset about, you know, rant about the election. I'm not going there, right? But when we look at, I was reading Meisner, was it Ivan Meisner, started BNI. His wife just passed away a couple of weeks ago. And I was reading him, he was talking about 2009, when he was at a big networking conference, and the crash had just hit a few months earlier, maybe 6-8 months earlier, and everybody was down. And then he just got irritated with it. And he went to some realtor, and he was just waiting to hear the realtor tell him how bad it was. He said, how you doing? He says, oh, awesome. What do you mean awesome? Because all they've been hearing is people complain things. He says, well, what do you mean by that? He says, well, there's all these first-time home buyers. All the houses are on sale for them because of the crash. There's all these investors that just want to buy 4 and 5 houses. I mean, where can you go and sell 4 or 5 houses at one time, you know? And he had this list of things that were good. And Eisner said, Mr. Meisner said, look, it's how you look at life. It's how, you know, are we going to position ourselves to do the best we can? Because there will always be issues that can irritate us, upset us, family issues, family concerns, people we love. You know, you can't be close to people without feeling some pain, because people you love, when you're not going through it, there will be people you care about and love that are going through suffering or pain or emotional or physical or surgery, you name it. There will always be stuff going on that could distract us. But thank you for what you shared today, reminding us to plan our day so that we can be more efficient, to do more for others, to be more useful to God and to others, that we really, at the end of the day, we brought something. You know, we brought something to people's lives. We made their lives better at the end of the day, at the end of the week, the end of the month, or the end of our visit or whatever, rather than taking, you know. And because it's so much fun. It is more blessed to give than to receive. As a matter of fact, in my personal opinion, and this and $4 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So get ready for this one. Well, maybe $4.50. Is generosity seems to be one of the most fun, important things to do in business and life. Now, I can't give everything away or my wife will get a little irritated that I start paying the bills, you know, she's a little frustrated. But I come home with a story of how I really felt sorry for the lady who was 80 years old and already been ripped off. And I wound up doing the thing it cost. And she has that first look of like, we didn't make any money today. But then she has a second look, I appreciate you for doing that, because she sees the value in helping those that are, I don't want to say victimized, but you know what I'm saying. You know, people who just got a raw deal and didn't know they were getting a raw deal, or it was over, whatever. But we can't fix everything. But again, if we can bring that little bit of improvement to their lives, a little bit of betterment, it's been a fun day. I'm done. Go ahead, Coach.
I wanted to build on to
with you, because you have some amazing insight. And I did write down the home inspection, because we're going to be looking at buying a house in 2021. So no,
I apologize. I don't do them anymore. Let me
maybe
unmute.
you know somebody that we can trust, because I don't know that. I don't know anybody.
And I can give you one, Jody, too. I know one, but
Okay.
what I wanted to build on something Stephen said too is, and that was something that you know, you've quoted Ivan Meisner, and we've talked about some of the Dave Ramsey. That same concept I've stolen from Darren Hardy, who used to be the editor-in-chief of Success Magazine. But one that I've taken from him that and constantly apply to my life is, whatever you need the most, start by giving that first. And it's such that essential thing. And so it's that, you know, trying to help people understand, if you need money, guess what? You have to start spending money. You need to start giving money, give other people. You want more business, start giving other people business. And again, it's all about what Stephen just said. It's about the mindset, the attitude, and to see it from this different perspective. But that's the one that, you know, just to build on that, that's what and it applies to everything. You need more time. Guess what? Sometimes you got to give your time, so you value your time. My biggest takeaway, Jody, was that idea of free time. I love it, because you're right. It changes our mindset that all of a sudden this is something of not value. And if you become intentional about it and saying, I want to fill this unscheduled time, perhaps instead of free time, my unscheduled time, I want to schedule that, and I want to use it in this way. That was my biggest takeaway. And again, I deal in this kind of similar realm a lot with clients, but it's that little piece. And that's what I love about listening to somebody who's teaching it from a different perspective. It helps turn new light bulbs on. So thank you for that.
That's wonderful. I have a horrible joke so Jody needs to cover her ears, because I'm going to start giving away Krispy Kreme donuts.
So here's the thing.
If you get the joke,
you want them back. I get it. I like it.
And I said, you know, I can't remember the last time I had a donut. And I said, but it's not because I'm on any kind of diet. I don't diet. But what I had to do was, I used to have a really big sweet tooth. Like back in the day, I used to have a really big sweet tooth. So what It's kind of like an alcoholic saying, I'm going to go to the bar and spend time with my friends and not drink, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to Dunkin' Donuts because I love donuts. Like, it's just,
Right.
it's probably still in me. I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. We were overseas, so there wasn't a whole lot of that anyway. But, you know, I stay away from things that I know are not going to serve me, right? So,
I
and when
did say it was a joke. Okay, I prefaced it. This is a joke. But
Well,
now
no,
I'm still
you
getting
know,
lashed for it. Okay.
I never judge anyone. I never judge anyone. I have plenty of friends who eat donuts. Like, I just personally don't, right? And if you don't go overboard, it's fine. I just don't know if I could not go overboard. I'll be honest with you. I might want to eat 3. I might not want to stop at 1. So I just don't even go there. But what
Quit judging us that eat 3 there, Jody. You said you don't judge anybody. Don't make it sound like that's a bad thing. I could eat 3.
Okay, for me,
I
I don't
can't.
want to eat 3. All right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and a lot of people don't know that, and the people who have read my book, they know this now, but my journey started with the loss of my mom. And in that time frame, I also had our daughter. Right after 2 months after my mom passed, our daughter came. And I had to really shift a lot of things in my life just because I wanted to be around longer for her, right? She didn't get to meet her first grandchild. She didn't get to see a lot of things in her life. I don't want that to be me. Now, can I combat everything in life? Nope. But I'm going to do everything in my power that I can to be here for as long as possible. And so that's when I talk to people, I say, what is your why? Because your why has to be bigger than you are. My why is so big, I won't quit. Because I'll let myself down. Unfortunately, we do. We'll let ourselves down all day long. We will go out of our way for other people, and we will let ourselves down. So what I try to work with people and say, would you say to others what you say to yourself? Would you do unto others what you do to yourself? Well, if not, maybe you need to change that mindset around and start treating yourself better. So that way you can treat people better. And I'll be honest with you, since I've done it in my own life, I am treating people so much better. I have amazing relationships with people. Every morning when I go to the gym, I talk to everybody. We all laugh. Like, people know me. Like, my friend was joking the other day. She was like, everybody knows you. I was like, I know, but I didn't used to be like this. But it's just that journey, and we have to evolve so that we can show up for other people and we can serve other people.
Yes. Yes, that attitude again. I heard a preacher say once, I suppose that God is easier to live with than most of us are. You know? And because again, people condemn themselves for their faults and think God's mad at them all the time. Again, I love my customers, and I wind up having chats with them. Like my guy, I don't swing a hammer much. Okay. My guys are on the roof tearing it apart. I'm chatting with the customer and we're talking about kids, grandkids, whatever. Can I tell you a brief story about giving? Michael, do we have time for me to have a brief 1-minute story about giving and how that give what you want to get or not?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when my 3rd kid was born, they were 3 years apart, 80, 83, 86. My wife was home. I'm getting up in the morning, getting the first one off to school. My wife's sleeping in. Of course she is. She wasn't working anymore. I wanted her home with the kids. She'd been home for 5 years by then. And years, 10 years later, she went back to work when the youngest was like in the 3rd grade or something. So I'm up in the morning, and but nevertheless, she was home. I'm making the morning coffee. My wife doesn't drink coffee; she drinks tea. Doesn't drink coffee. So I'm making my morning coffee and getting my little girl off to school in the 1st grade or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, why doesn't my wife get up for me and make my coffee in the mornings? And I realized it's 1986, 87. It's a long time ago. And that still small voice came to me and said, why don't you do for her what you would like her to do for you? And do you know that this morning I made my wife tea, and I've been doing it ever since then? And maybe that's why we've been married for 45 years, who knows? But because she just said it this morning, you spoil me. Because she's laying in bed and I come in there at 6:30 with a hot cup of tea, and I got my coffee in the other hand. And I've been doing it all these years, but now she gets up and goes to work. She's a special ed teacher. She still gets up and goes to work. And of course I work, but so I say, it just one of those things in life where the thing was turned on me. Why don't you do for her what you would like her to do for you? And I've been doing it ever since. And it's a joy to do it in the mornings. It's a joy, you know, even on weekends sometimes. Although off some weekends she's up before me. Thank you for letting me share that. It's been a fun story. And I, like I said, she says, you spoil me. I go, yeah, well, yeah, that's good. Because you get up in the morning, you go to school, you work hard, and you deserve a little treat. Thank you.
Absolutely.
To tap into Jodi's thing, I've learned that you can also set the coffee maker to just make it the next day. So if you don't want to get up early, you can make the coffee for her. You just got to do it. You got to
Well,
plan it the
again,
night
she's
before.
a tea drinker. Again, she's a tea drinker.
Oh, that's right.
And
That's a good
I've
point.
done that with my coffee pot, but I've been let down with not figuring out how to set the clock right, technology again, and given up on it. But yeah, I've done that years ago because I've got a carafe coffee pot with a stainless steel carafe, and we keep it hot and everything. But I may look into that again. But she takes tea, so I've pretty much got to make it on the spot. But
I
thank you
was
for the
only
tip.
trying to apply what Jodi was talking about. No, I get you, and it is.
Yeah,
it's
time.
a very
I
good
get it.
story.
Time planning. You have to preface it. I have a funny thing to say, or I don't connect it. I think you're. But thanks for letting me share that. I really appreciate
That
it.
is true though, Stephen. I just want to acknowledge you for that because last year I was a lot in my own head. When I moved back to Jacksonville, I had never had to market anything. I never had to do any of that. People just knew who I was. I never knew how to do that. And then I came back and I was in a saturated field and literally everything was taking me back. But what I had to do, like I was arguing with my daughter. My husband was in New Mexico at this time. But my daughter and I were at each other's throats like every morning. And that's not how I wanted to start our mornings, right? So what did I have to do? Turn the mirror around. It was me. It was me. I was reactive, which is going to be on her, right? So I love what you said about that because when we start to self-analyze, and that's a hard thing to do. I tell people all the time, it's not easy. But when we start to do it, it's amazing what can happen. Like people are saying to me now, like, wow, you and your husband seem like you're getting along better. And I said, well, I just had to change. He changes because I'm changing, right?
Joe, I noticed you've been really rowdy over there.
Yeah. No, I would just like to say, all things that Jodi's talked about, you can find out about in her book, Reclaim Your Life. It's a great book that I would highly recommend. The chapter 2 is all about the time management, and chapter 1 is about mindset development. So I would highly recommend her book. It's very helpful.
Oh, thanks, Joe. I appreciate you.
That's awesome, man.
Is it on Amazon, or do we get it from you, or?
It is
it on
on
Kindle?
Amazon. I have a few copies left, so either way, just connect with me, and I'll let you know. I do
Did you put it on Kindle?
It is on Kindle because it's
Okay.
on Amazon. Yeah, so I published it through a company, and they did all that. So it's literally you can Google it, and it'll come up.
But if you get it directly from her, Stephen, she'll autograph it for you.
I will. I'll personalize it because I like.
You'll have to write. You may have to write on my Kindle, but okay. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I will tell you, and Joe probably knows this because he's going through it. It is an interactive. It's supposed to be interactive. So there are places where you can write in things and things like that. But some people can do that in a notebook too. So it's whatever works for you. I'm a tangible person. So I like to have a book in hand. That's just me though.
And I did want to mention, I was reluctant to bring this up, but we often see that Joe is downtown. I'm really not in an office. I'm in the mountains of Colorado right now, but I put this fake office back behind me because I don't want you all to feel jealous or, concerned or like, hey, he gets to have all these benefits. So I just put this fake office background behind me, but I'm going to be out to the mountains here in just a minute here. But it's been great talking to you long distance. And I'm a liar.
I'm always amused when people bring up
goodness.
Colorado because that's where I moved from. We've been in Jack's Beach for 2 years, but literally moved from the foothills of Colorado. So it's always funny when I hear somebody mention Colorado. I'm like, I believe it.
Well,
I have a cousin that's playing football there. I keep on saying I want to go there and visit. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah. I
I will say it was great. I'm not so sure about now. They've had some fires and some electional issues. I'm not so sure it's as great as it was.
Yeah. Well, we do miss travel. We usually was taking 3 trips a year back in the day, maybe for a week or so each. And because when you have your own business and as a school teacher, she'd have spring break, Christmas break, summer break. So we'd have time to travel. So we really miss that. But You all been a real thrill today. I'm sorry I missed the previous meetings. They're probably just as good. Jody, you're awesome. I do want to
thank
get your
you.
book.
You are too.
You're all awesome. I knew Joe was
Everybody's
awesome. I knew Joe was awesome. That Joe Vickers, everybody loves Joe. And but it's been nice to meet you all.
Absolutely. Jody, I just need you to go into the participants spot and make me the host again, please.
Okay, I think I can do that.
Pretty please. Jody, I really appreciate your time today with giving us some guidance and some tools to be able to start off our weekend to a certain degree as we go into the
Perfect
weekend.
timing, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
well, I appreciate you for even giving me the opportunity to do this. This is exactly what I want to be able to do more of, because now I can help more people when I have, there's 4 of you there's 4 of you on this call. Like when I'm getting in front of groups, now I'm helping more people. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what I want to do.
absolutely. And just FYI to you guys, Jody and I are actually going to be doing a seminar virtually for her stuff and my stuff, our topics on December 10th. I'm going to be sending that out. We were talking about doing it in person, but I think with what's going on out there, I think we're just better off just doing virtually for now. So we're making up a little card and flyer and all kinds of things like that. So actually, we just put together a video.
Yeah, I think I got that back today. I'm gonna have to go in and look, so I'll let you know.
Okay. So anyway, we're putting together something, so we'll get it out to you guys also. But I appreciate everybody's attendance today. Please, I take Stephen real quick. Yeah, I take it you're part of a BNI from what I heard. Yes.
Years ago, I was for a short while.
Okay.
But I still get his emails all the time because I get everybody's stuff. I just read so much. I'm constantly reading. My most recent quote, my phone is ringing, telemarketing. Okay. Hold on a minute, please. My most recent quote I used in a networking business yesterday because I'm really cautious who I listen to and quote lately. It has said, "Don't just fly, soar." And that was from Dumbo the elephant. When I see an elephant fly. So, but I'm in some at least one networking meeting, but not BNI anymore. But I do sign up for emails of people who have interesting things to say about life or networking or whatever. But I'm not in BNI, but it's called BizNet.
Okay.
It's Joe's in it, and it's Thursdays. It's one of those groups that's a membership group where there's one per field. I don't think we have a consistent life coach. And it seems to me, Jody and Coach Sean, is there overlapping there in some of what you do? Or Sean, you're more business related as far as getting people together and getting their stuff straightened out with their business? You're muted.
Jody definitely does some business side of it. There's a little bit of overlapping, but for me, I really find that coaching is a very personal experience, and as you well are aware of, right? It's all a matter of what part of the seat do you claim and things like that, Stephen. So,
yeah.
But
so both of you there might be room for both of you in that.
I was just thinking that, and that's one of the things that I love now is just collaborating. Like Michael and I collaborating. Like I don't know everything, and I always tell people I'm not the coach for everybody, right? Like I just want to help people find their purpose and believe in themselves, and however that looks, I don't know. But yeah, Coach Sean.
I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to help anybody find their purpose. I don't want to.
No. Well, yeah, but if we teamed up, like how amazing could that be, right?
So what's going to happen, Stephen, just so you know, is that I'm going to send an email that will be to all 4 of you. And that way you can communicate back and forth if you want to. That way with the chat information too. Okay. So it's that time. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending. Awesome job, Jody. Stephen, I appreciate your participation and commentary. And Joe, I appreciate you supporting the group. And Sean, as always, thank you for your help with everything. And do you want to stay on this and talk more, or you got something to do? Okay. So thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. It's gorgeous out. We finally got our weather in sync. So enjoy, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Jody.
Happy Thanksgiving, yes.
It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Yes, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Stephen.